Shawn Ray here for Generation Iron. As we count down to the Arnold Classic, the 30-year Arnold Classic, we got to go back in time to find out what made this show what it is today. And that has to go back to its origins.
Body language.
Welcome to Columbus, Ohio for the first annual Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, where some of the great bodybuilders of the world have gathered.
1989, the Dragon Slayer, Rich Gaspari, after winning 3 first runner-ups in the Mr. Olympia Championships, decided to compete in this contest, and he would hold off Robbie Robinson to win the very first Arnold Classic title and the $50,000 that went with it. Rich would later go on to become an entrepreneur in the nutritional and supplement industry and become a major sponsor and a major player at the Arnold Classic Championships to promote the sport of bodybuilding, to give back to the athletes coming up from behind him. So Rich has done amazing things not only on the stage but off the stage as a result of being the Arnold Classic champion back in 1989.
1990 saw Mr. Natural Mike Ashley take the title and cash winning, displaying a thick physique that was built through years as a powerlifter while in the U.S. Army.
The second year of the Arnold Classic in 1990 was a contest of controversy. That was the contest that I would win, or so I thought. 2 weeks later, it would turn out that Mike Ashley would be the ultimate winner of the 1990 Arnold Classic because I failed the drug test. Mike Ashley, a noted natural bodybuilder his entire career, was coming off a second place finish at the Pro Ironman Championships not too far from here in Redondo Beach. 1 week later, we would be drug tested in Columbus, Ohio, and Mike, a universe champion and a professional bodybuilder at the time, has always claimed to be a drug-free bodybuilder, and by passing the drug test in Columbus, Ohio, it set him up to become the eventual winner of the show. Probably one of the least known Arnold Classic champions, but a perfect gentleman. He was gracious in defeat and even more gracious in victory once he found out about the results. Mike was there at the 25-year anniversary, and there's no doubt he'll be there and to be celebrated at the 30-year anniversary this March in Columbus, Ohio.
And now for the winner.
And the second place goes to Ronald Jambier, and the winner is Shawn Ray.
I knew it. He looks fantastic, and he really deserved to win this competition. But I have to say that it was very close between his top 3 competitors.
I come back to Columbus, Ohio, some 5 months later to defend the title and win it again with perfect scores in 1991. I would be some time before I'd wind up back on that stage. As a matter of fact, I would come back to Columbus, Ohio in 1996 to try to win that title again, and I fell all the way down to 5th place, and a lot of the bodybuilders were writing me off. I mean, Flex Wheeler won the competition, Kevin Levrone was there, Vince Taylor and Paul Dillette, they all took turns knocking me down into 5th place spot. But in that same calendar year, I would move up to place 2nd place in Chicago at the Mr. Olympia Championships.
And it comes down to these 2 men for the championship, $75,000 on the line.
And the winner of the 1992 Arnold Classic, Vince Taylor.
There's your champion, Vince Taylor.
Now he must be extremely happy now.
I would be remiss if we weren't talking about one of our elder statesmen, a 5-time Masters Olympia winner, and our 1992 Arnold Classic champion, Vince the Quiet Storm Taylor. Some call him Vince the Prince. Vince was a former national champion for the NPC back in 1988, I believe it was, right after I won it in 1987. Vince Taylor got kind of a late start. He was 27 years old when he got out there, was under the tutelage of John Brown, a 3-time Mr. Universe and a 2-time Mr. World champion, found Vince over in Germany. Vince began to get more involved with bodybuilding and posing and presentation, and working closely with John Brown became one of the premier posers in our sport's history. Vince would go on to win 5 Masters Olympia titles, become one of the winningest pro bodybuilders of all time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1993 Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic champion, Flex Wheeler.
I would be remiss if I weren't talking about the fabulous Flex Wheeler. Flex Wheeler would win 4 Arnold Classic championships before he was done with his professional bodybuilding career. Now, Flex in 1992 had won the USA NPC Championships to turn pro. 1 year later, he would win the Pro Ironman, the San Jose Pro, and his very first Arnold Classic Championship in 1993 at the light weight of only 216 pounds. Arguably, some say that was the best flex wheeler the world has ever seen in 1993. And in that same calendar year, he would go on to place second place in the Mr. Olympia for his very first time behind Dorian Yates in Atlanta, Georgia. Flex is in the record books in bodybuilding and is a Hall of Fame bodybuilder. He would get 3 first Olympia runner-ups and win a slew of professional titles, and of course be known as the Sultan of Symmetry as a result of his very first Arnold Classic Championship back in 1993.
The second place winner is Vince Taylor.
37-year-old Vince Taylor, one of the popular figures in bodybuilding, is the second place finisher, and with that finish comes a check for $45,000, and that means that Kevin Levrone from Glen Burnie, Maryland, is the new champion of the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic.
One that cannot be overlooked would be the Maryland Muscle Machine. Kevin Levrone, your NPC overall national winner in 1991, would go on to win second place in his very first Mr. Olympia in 1992 in Helsinki, Finland, but would really leave his big impression in 1994 when he won his first of 2 Arnold Classic titles. He was one of the winningest pro bodybuilders of all time. As a matter of fact, at the time he retired, he was the winner of all the shows. He won more than any other professional bodybuilder at the time, going down in the record books as a 2-time Arnold Classic champion from the 90s. One could not miss the beast from the East, big Nasser El Sonbaty. Nasser El Sonbaty would go on to win the Arnold Classic Championships, but before he did that, he would go on to set the tone for his name in 1995 by placing 3rd place at the Mr. Olympia Championships. Nasser El Sonbaty would win shows over in Russia. He would win shows at the GNC Championships. He won a lot of competitions by being very big. Most notoriously, he was 3rd place in the 1996 Mr. Olympia Championships in Chicago, which he would fail the diuretic test, but redeem himself in 1997 with a first runner-up final finish against Dorian Yates. He would meet an early demise. Nasser El Sonbaty passed away about 5 years ago and was unable to attend the Arnold Classic 25th anniversary. As we move into the 30th year, he will continue to be sorely missed on the landscape of our Arnold Classic champions. The big nasty from Texas, Ronnie Coleman, your 8-time Mr. Olympia champion. Ronnie Coleman did what no other Mr. Olympia in history was able to do while he was competing. He won the 2001 Arnold Classic Championships and then went on in 2001, some 7 or 8 months later, to defend his title and retain his championship as Mr. Olympia, holding off a young upstart in the name of Jay Cutler, who would also go on to win the Arnold Classic champion multiple times. But the one thing that stands out is that the only man to win the Arnold Classic title and the Mr. Olympia title is the big nasty Ronnie Coleman.
Jay Cutler.
And there's the great shot with Arnold. That's something you can put in your scrapbook.
That's been taken a couple of times before.
Jay Cutler rattled off 3 consecutive Arnold Classic titles, all while trying to become Mr. Olympia. Jay Cutler, who won his class at the NPC National Championships, only the heavyweight division, took some time off and would wind up going into his first Mr. Olympia Championships, placing out of the top 10. Ultimately, Jay Cutler would arrive on his 3rd attempt to place 2nd to Ronnie Coleman, and then ultimately he would win 4 Mr. Olympia titles before he was done, to add to his collection of 3 Arnold Classic titles. Jay is the busiest man in bodybuilding and very popular still as a result of his 3 Arnold Classic titles, not to mention his 4 Mr. Olympia Sandow trophies. Jay Cutler, a former Arnold Classic winner.